Closed captioning is brought to you by Insect Defend Patch, DEET-free protection from biting insects.
Most ice fishermen will use a monofilament line for ice fishing. And that's fine because monofilament line, if it's a good one, will remain pretty limp and also won't pick up a lot of water. So it won't build up ice on your reel, whether you're using a spinning reel or bait casting reel. I prefer though to use a braided line that's designed for ice fishing. And that's what I've got in my hand right here. This is the ice braid that's made by Suffix, and it's 6-pound test, but only has the line diameter of 2-pound monofilament line. And as you can see here, the two little pieces that they have out as sample, it's very limp. It has no memory. So when I'm fishing for smaller fish, like jumbo perch or crappie or lake herring, where I'm using a small jig, sometimes as small as 1/32 ounce in size, I find that the low diameter of an ice braid is much more sensitive and gives my jig much more lifelike action, and that helps me catch more fish. Oh! All right. Jig head stuck there. I got him out. Good. Now you know it's nice. You get a nice bright day like this, and we're very fortunate because it's above zero. And even though these fish usually tend to get really shy when it gets bright out, if you work at it and you've got a reliable sonar like the Humminbird, the Ice 55, and you start messing around with the rigs like I have, this little treble hook extended on that little jig hook, you can actually get fish in the middle of the day. Now you know, here in the Haliburton Highlands in Minden, they're plentiful, these herring, and you can keep quite a few of them. But some places, like Lake Simcoe, where the herring fishing was awesome up until about the mid-80s, today, because their numbers decline so much, you have to release the herring there. Look at that. Isn't that a gorgeous fish? You see that sun reflecting off the side? You know what? I've got a nice lunch there. So I'm just going to re-rig again and see if I can get another fish. You know, you were probably wondering where Mulligan was while I was fishing out there. Well, here's Mulligan. Mulligan, you've been in a nice warm hut while I've been out there catching fish on the ice. Mulligan had surgery a couple days ago, so she's in here where she's protected. Now with me is Al Weaver, and Al is really one of the reasons why it came up. He had sent Karl some pictures of the fish he was catching, and then I got those, and then the next thing you know, I'm up here fishing. Now Al, how long have you been fishing up here on Gull Lake?
Oh, all my life pretty well, 30 years or 40 maybe.
I was really interested to see some of the stuff you have in here. This is like a spaceship. You've got one sonar there, you've got one sonar there, so I can hear it beeping. This is a Chum Can. That's the proper name, right? Yep. So in case you haven't seen one before, what he's done is taken a can, an aluminum can, he's added a weight to the bottom, and you can see that the lid kind of just flip-flops back and forth. But what he does is he lowers this weight down to the bottom. See that sinker that's on there? It goes all the way to the bottom, even in 60, 70 feet of water. He puts minnows in here, and then he lets that can go down, and the can follows the line and goes all the way to the bottom. When it hits the bottom, he just pulls on it, it inverts the can, and the minnows swim out. That's why they call it a bait can. There's the transducer cable again. Don't come off, little herring. You know, this is fun. I'm not getting them exactly one after the other. It's just when the school moves through. But they're a lot of fun. There's enough water on the ice so you can see them actually trying to swim in the water. Now there's that rig again. Okay, now it's just amazing. You know, sometimes you got to figure out what's going on. Like this morning, because they haven't been hitting that aggressively, I figured if I could get my minnow away from my jig head, that I'd get him to hit even when they're totally inactive. And I've been able to do that. And that guy took it well. That jig head is just in the roof of the mouth, the actual hook. So I'm going to get that little treble out. I'm going to show it to you because it's so tiny. and I'll show you how to rig it. Look at that, now that the sun is out. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I'll tell you what, they're hard to hold. Don't go in the hole, go in the pile. Perfect, okay. Now because this treble is so small, I gotta make sure that it's in good condition. So look, here's my cutting board. Okay, I'm gonna show you here how I'm rigging up this little treble. I'm just taking a piece of fish, and now I'm gonna hook just the head of the minnow on here. You know, I can hear that wind howling, and I can see it on the top of the trees. We're kind of in a depression here on Gull Lake, so we're protected. I wouldn't want to be out in the open. It looks like it's blowing pretty good. Okay, so it doesn't look fancy, look. But you can see, there's the jig head, and there's that tiny treble with just the head of a small minnow on there. So the whole idea is, when these herring come in, and I'm shaking my jig head, the little piece of fish looks really natural. A lot of times when the herring are aggressive, you can use a small spoon, a jigging rapala, or even an untipped jig head. But it seems because of these light conditions that they're being really shyish. So I've got to be very careful here.
Canadian Sport Fishing, brought to you in part by Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line. Yamaha Outboards, reliability starts here. Sail, the outdoors superstore. Lucky Strike, all you need is a Lucky Strike.
Perfect. You can actually see the fish coming up as I'm fighting it. Hopefully it won't get caught. That's a lot of herring. They're stacked for about 20 feet. Come on. Sometimes lake trout are mixed in too. Nice herring. Isn't that beautiful? See if I can get baited up real quick. Okay, look at that. Man, hooked right to the top of the roof. Okay, I'm going to put him there. I'm going to get a piece of fish real quick. I don't have much left here, but I'm going to put it on and see if I can get those guys to hit.